In our lesson today, we're going to look at one more angle relationship, and those are going to be vertical angles. Vertical angles are pairs of opposite angles, formed by intersecting lines. Vertical angles are pairs of opposite angles formed by intersecting lines. And in the picture underneath, we can see our two intersecting lines, and they form four angles, which I've labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. And vertical angles are opposite angles, so they're on opposite sides of the point of intersection, like angle 1 and angle 4. They're on opposite sides of the intersecting point. Same thing for angle 2 and angle 3. Angle 2 and angle 3 are vertical angles. And I went ahead and I measured with a protractor these angles already, and you'll notice something else about the vertical angles. Angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical angles, and they have the same measurement. The same is true for angles 2 and 3. They're vertical angles, and they have the same measurement. We call those angles congruent. So let's add that to our definition. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay, and there's a symbol that we use for congruent. It looks like an equal sign, and then we put a tilde up on top. All right, if you're in Spanish class, you may have seen that tilde before above the letter N. That's the symbol for congruent. Okay, so let's list off our vertical angles. Okay, angle 1 and angle 4 are vertical angles, and they're congruent. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 4 because they're vertical angles. Same thing for angle 2 and angle 3. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 3 because they are vertical angles. Now, not only do we have vertical angles in this picture, but we also have supplementary angles. Remember that angles are supplementary if they add up to 180 degrees and form a straight angle. Okay, so if I look at angle number 1 and angle number 2, they form this straight angle right here, and their sum is 180 degrees. Angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees because they are supplementary angles. The same goes for angle 1 and angle 3. They form this straight angle, and their sum is 180 degrees. Angle 1 plus angle 3 equals 180 degrees. Okay, you could also do the same thing for angle 2 and angle 4. They also form this straight angle here, and their sum is 180 degrees. Angle 2 plus angle 4 equals 180 degrees. And finally, the same can be said with angle 3 and angle 4. Together they form this straight angle, and their sum, when I look at them, is 180 degrees. Angle 3 plus angle 4 equals 180 degrees. Okay, so in our picture, notice that you have two pair of vertical angles, and we said before that vertical angles are congruent, meaning that they're the same measurement. But we also have four pair of supplementary angles, and supplementary angles have a sum of 180 degrees because they form straight angles. In our pictures below, we have to find the measures of the missing angles, and starting on the left, I have two missing angles labeled X and Y. Let's start with angle X. I'm going to go ahead and trace that with a green colored pencil. Angle X is this angle found right here. And located at the same vertex point right here is also a 57 degree angle, which I'll trace in my red colored pencil here. Okay, and I'm only looking at this vertex point. I'm ignoring the other vertex point. Okay, so if I look at these two angles, all right, together, notice that they formed a right angle. Okay, angle X and the 57 degrees together form this right angle. They're called complementary angles. So to get the measure of angle X, all we have to do, because they make a right angle, they add up to 90 degrees, take 90 and subtract off 57, and that'll give you the measure of angle x. This means that the measure of angle x must be 33 degrees. This is a 33-degree angle. Okay, looking at angle y, I'll trace that in a purple color here. Okay, here's angle y in purple. At the same vertex point right here is the 131-degree angle, which I'll trace with my orange colored pencil. Okay, and again, I'm only looking at that vertex point. Okay, well, when I take angle y and I put it together with the 131-degree angle, notice that they formed a straight angle right here, which means that these are supplementary angles and their sum is 180 degrees. So to get the measure of angle y, we're going to take the 180-degree straight angle and subtract off the 131-degree angle, and that means that the measure of angle y must be 49 degrees. Okay, this right here, angle y, is a 49-degree angle. Looking at the picture on the right, now we have three missing angles, angle x, angle z, and angle y. And I'm going to start off with an easy angle. Angle y is an easy angle to compute because I don't actually have to do any work. Notice that we have intersecting lines here and here. When lines intersect like this, they're going to form vertical angles, which we know are congruent to each other. Here's the 42-degree angle. Opposite of that is angle y. Since angle y and 42 degrees are vertical angles, that means that angle y must also be 42 degrees. Vertical angles are on opposite ends of the point of intersection, and they have the same measurement. So angle y is 42 degrees. Let's stay right here and get the measure of angle z. Angle z, I'll do that in my red color here. There's angle z. And 42 degrees I'll do in my green color. Here's my green color for 42 degrees. And if you take those two angles and you put them together, 42 degrees and angle z, all right, cover up that ray that they have in common, they made a straight angle right here. So these are supplementary angles. That means they add up to 180 degrees. So to get the measure of angle z, we're going to take 180 degrees and subtract off the 42-degree angle. That means that the measure of angle z must be 138 degrees. This is a 138-degree angle. Okay. Angle x is located up at this vertex point, so I'm going to ignore everything that's down here and only look at this vertex point here. Let's take angle x and trace it in my orange color. Here's angle x. Okay, and the 132-degree angle I'll trace with purple. There's the 132-degree angle. Okay, and again, if I cover up the ray that they have in common, notice the straight angle right here that they've formed. That means that angle x and the 132-degree angle are supplementary and they add up to 180 degrees. So to get the measure of angle x, all we're going to do is take the 180 and subtract off the 132-degree angle, meaning that the measure of angle x is going to be 48 degrees. This here is a 48-degree angle. In our next picture, we have 5 missing angles, and we need to come up with the measure of each one and then give a reason why it's going to be that angle measure. Okay, so we've got angles 1 through 5 that we've got to find, and we don't have to go in order. In fact, I'm not going to. I'm going to look for easy angles to start, and I'm going to actually start right here with angle number 2. Here's angle number 2, and notice it's got the right angle symbol right there. So angle number 2, I know, must be 90 degrees because it is a right angle. That's probably the easiest one in the picture to get. Okay, angle 2 is 90 degrees because it is a right angle. Okay, I'm going to look for another simple angle to get, and I can see right here angle number 4 is vertical to the 61-degree angle. We've got intersecting lines. Angle 4 and the 61-degree angle are on opposite ends of the intersecting point, which means they're vertical, and vertical angles are congruent. So if this is 61 degrees, then angle 4 is also 61 degrees because it is vertical to 61 degrees. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay, I'm going to stay here at this point of intersection. I'm going to get angle number 3, which I'm going to trace in green. Okay, angle number 3 is right here in green. And at the intersecting point, I have the 61-degree angle, which I'll trace with my red color. Here's my red color right there. And if I cover up the ray that they share, notice right here is a straight angle. So angle 3 and 61 degrees are supplementary angles and add up to 180. So to get the measure of angle 3, we just have to take 180 and subtract off 61, which is going to give us 119 degrees. So angle 3 is 119 degrees because it is supplementary to 61 degrees. Okay. Now, angle 3 and angle 5 are on opposite ends of the point of intersection, which means they're vertical. So if angle 3 is 119 degrees, well then angle 5 must also be 119 degrees because it is vertical to 119 degrees. Okay, and that leaves angle number 1. I've got to get angle number 1, which I've drawn here in purple. Here's angle number 1. And at the same intersecting point is the 55-degree angle, which I've traced with my orange colored pencil. Okay, and looking at these two angles, if you notice right here, they have formed a right angle, which means that they're complementary angles. So to get the measure of angle 1, complementary angles add up to 90. All I have to do is take 90 and subtract off 55, which means that angle 1 must be a 35-degree angle. Angle 1 is 35 degrees because it is complementary to 55 degrees. Looking at my picture on the left, I have 3 missing angles. I'm going to come up with their measures and give a reason why. And I see right away here at angle number 1, angle 1 and 35 degrees, they form this right angle. Okay, which means that angle 1 and 35 degrees, they're complementary angles. So to get angle 1, all I'm going to have to do is subtract 35 from 90, which is going to give me 55 degrees. This angle, angle 1, is 55 degrees because it is complementary. It is complementary to 35 degrees. Okay? These two angles form a right angle, so they add up to 90 degrees. Okay? I'm going to come over here now. I'm going to get angle number 3. Notice we have intersecting lines here and here. Angle 3 and 143 are vertical angles because they're opposite ends of the point of intersection, and vertical angles are congruent. So I know then that angle 3 must be 143 degrees because it is vertical to 143 degrees. All right, vertical angles are congruent to each other. And that's going to leave angle number 2. So all I have to do is get angle number 2. Here's angle 2 in purple. Okay, 143 degrees right here in green. Okay, they form the straight angle found right here, which means that they're supplementary. So I'm going to do 180 minus 143, which means that angle 2 must be 37 degrees because it is supplementary. It is supplementary to 143 degrees. Okay, So I'm going to have you try to get angles 1, 2, and 3 in the picture on the right.